Beauty is a form of control. Let me paint you a picture. You're sitting across from a beautiful woman. She doesn't need to say much, just a glance, a soft smile, and suddenly you feel that urge to do something just to catch her attention. Ever been there? Schopenhauer once said, "Beauty is not a gift, it's a strategy honed over thousands of years of evolution to attract, to bind, to control." I know that sounds harsh, but think about it. How many men have lost their minds, their freedom, even their careers, just chasing after a beauty that fades with time? A Stoic understands something deeper. Beauty fades, but character, inner peace, and purpose? That's the real pursuit. Self-mastery is the final fortress. Everything around you is falling apart. Your job's a mess, someone you love turns their back on you, and social media bombards you with 100 messages a day telling you who to be, what to do, to be loved, to be seen. And in the middle of all that noise, you stay still. I'm not talking about apathy. I'm talking about self-mastery, the state a Stoic man sees as the final stronghold of the soul. In that place, you're not swayed by praise or criticism. You don't chase, and no one writes the story of your life but you. Epictetus taught, no one can harm you unless you allow it. And I've seen that truth in men who once seemed weak, but when they found their inner axis, became untouchable. So ask yourself, are you living from the inside out or from the outside in? Marriage is a trap without awareness. I once spoke to a man in his 40s, divorced, lost custody of his kids, who looked at me with dead eyes and asked, "How did I let it get this far?" The answer wasn't his wife. It was the lack of awareness he had walking into marriage. Schopenhauer didn't hold back when he said marriage can turn a man into a slave. And yeah, it sounds brutal. But if you dive deep into a relationship without truly knowing yourself, without boundaries, without a mission, you're handing over the keys to your inner fortress. Stoics don't reject love. They love deeply, but with both heart and mind. They don't marry because they're afraid of being alone. They choose when they know who they are, what they need, and what they're ready for. Because marriage isn't a destination. It's a trial by fire for self-mastery. Women lead with emotion, not logic. Ever been in a heated argument, and by the end, you don't even remember what started it? One of my students told me she cried, then screamed, then went silent. I kept trying to explain to make her understand, but the more I talked, the worse it got. And I told him, stop. Not because she was wrong, but because he'd gotten pulled into an emotional dance he had no control over. Schopenhauer said women act more through emotion, and that's not a bad thing. Emotions are part of survival, but if you as a man also react emotionally, then both of you are drifting without a captain. The Stoic doesn't join that dance. He stands firm, listens, observes, but doesn't get swept away. Because like Epictetus said, it's not what happens to you that hurts, it's how you react to it. You can master the moment, or let the moment master you. The choice is yours. Freedom begins where desire ends. Think back to the last time you did something and immediately regretted it. A text you shouldn't have sent, a night you lost yourself, chasing something or someone you thought was worth it, only to feel empty afterward. Desire, whether for flesh, money, or recognition, isn't the issue. The issue is when it starts steering your life. Schopenhauer once said, desire is the root of suffering. And in Stoic philosophy, we believe true freedom doesn't come from having everything, it comes from knowing when to walk away. I lost an empire over a small yes. I had a patient once, a successful businessman, who told me I lost my whole empire because I couldn't say no to a small desire. Stoics don't hate desire, they just understand it, watch it, rise above it, because only when you're no longer a slave to your urges are you truly free. Manipulation through lack. I remember a young man once sat across from me, red eyes, raspy voice from nights without sleep. He said, "I can't stop thinking about her. It's like, without her, I'm nothing." I looked him straight in the eye and asked, "What about you? Are you still something to yourself?" One of the subtlest forms of manipulation is this, making you believe you're not whole unless you have them. But Stoic philosophy teaches the opposite. No one has the right to define your worth except you. A Stoic man doesn't beg for love. He doesn't chase silence or flattery. He chooses deliberately. He builds internal value, so he never feels lacking because he knows he is already enough. So ask yourself, are you living as the chooser or the one being chosen? Attention is your most precious currency. Picture this. Every morning you wake up with a bag of gold in your hand, but you don't even notice it. Only platforms, ads, notifications, and clever manipulators do. And that gold is your attention. Ever notice this? Look at something for 3 seconds, hit like or reply to a message, and boom, you've just spent a piece of gold without realizing it. In Stoic philosophy, attention is the final frontier of freedom. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Your mind will become whatever you give your attention to." A Stoic man guards his mind. He chooses where his eyes go, what voices he listens to, and who he lets into his world. Because if you don't control what you focus on, you can't control your life. Your life mission is the true center. At the end of one of my courses, I asked a man, "If today were your last day, what would you regret the most?" He paused, then said, "I spent too many years trying to make others happy and forgot why I was here in the first place." I'll never forget that answer. You weren't born to be someone's emotional support system. You're not here to explain yourself every day. You're not here to be accepted while ignoring your own inner voice. A Stoic man knows your life mission is the axis of all decisions. If a relationship costs you that mission, you don't walk away in anger. You walk away in self-respect. You're here to build, to lead, to leave a mark, not to dissolve into someone else's life. Remember this, if you don't live by your mission, you'll get swept up into someone else's.